a fellow to Federal Constituency of Lagos State. Tonight, we're discussing the battle for presiding officers' jobs of the 10th National Assembly as the battle rages on. So, Honorable Khaled Jai, I know the APC leadership has promised to look into the matter. But for you, what do you think the party should do to change the narrative?
Well, I've told you, first and foremost, is for the party to go back to the drawing board, to look at where the agitations are coming from, and then to address their agitations. And in addressing their agitations, the first primary thing to do is to do consultation, wider consultation. The second thing to do is to do what's called lobbying, is allowed. They must also be, party must lobby, and then party must also, appeal to the sensibility of members-elect, who will be the decision maker on that day, on the day of voting. The party will not really be there, but they may not be there physically, but they are there in body and spirit. So they must also get back to various members and appeal to our consciences for us to see reason. They must also lobby, they must consult, they must persuade, they must assuage, they must do all of these things. And then the party is not taking that line. It's not winning any big stick against anybody. The party respects the desire and the freedom of every parliamentarian to exercise their franchise. And the party is not forcing anything on anybody.
So, some of the lawmakers have also argued that the APC cannot impose leaders on the National Assembly. How worried are you that opposition lawmakers may take advantage of this situation?
Yes, but I can tell you, we have a body that we call the task group. This body is being set up to address intra-party relationship. This body has been in existence even before people start agitating to be worth. And in this body, we have all the parties in there. We have the PDP, we have the APC, we have the Labour Party, we have every other party is involved. And what are we doing in this joint task? That's the name of the group. The joint task was established without any candidature in mind. And all will be interacting to say that let us meet, let us agree. And what we have agreed at that joint task is that we will not support any candidate until when the party has come up with their position. And that whatever position that the party arrives at, that is what we're going to do. And I can tell you that without letting the cat out of the cage, the number that we have today is quite good enough. We have larger members of the PDP, we have larger members of the APC, you see, nobody runs the parliament based on just one party system. No speaker can do it successfully. It has to be a collaboration of all parties. All parties must be part of what comes up to make up the National Assembly. In terms of committee appointment, committee chairmanship appointment, you cannot say because we have an APC speaker, then all the committee chairmen will go to APC, the PDP will go and sleep. You can't run the house. There will be chaos. You can't say because the Labours are not a majority, and then you say Labour Party is of no consequence. You cannot even say the party that is headed by Kwakwan, so that's the party that has almost dominated the entire, Kano State, that they have no voice. So what is important to the leadership of the National Assembly as they emerge, whether, choices that are made by the party or not choices that are not made by the party, is to ensure that whoever becomes the leader or the leader or leaders of the 10th National Assembly are able to put every party into. So this group that are called the Joint Task, we have been meeting, we have met today, we have affirmed our position, and then we already have our members across that have pledged their loyalty to respect party decisions. And I do not see what can be beyond that. And to also let you know that the man Abbas, TJ Abbas, I have read his profile, I have met with him, I have seen him address the caucuses. I respect his intellect. I'm always giving to academics. Apart from being a PhD holder, he has done the best that anybody could do in the National Assembly. He has 67 motions, not motions, 67 bills to his credit. He has 10 motions to his credit, the highest in the history of the parliamentary democracy in Nigeria. It means that the man has dedicated himself to the service of the parliament from day one. He's been there since 2005 till date. But then, even testimony from some of his colleagues, those who served under him as deputy chairman of committees or members of committee, they have attested to one thing about the man: fairness, humility, competence, ability, dynamism. So, and I, as a fresher, have also seen that in him. I got worried. Every single person can have such motions or some number of bills to his credit. Not just bills that were passed alone by the National Assembly. Not less than 40-50% of those bills were ascended to by the President. And I saw those bills. There are bills that have helped to regulate the health industry, that have helped to even the other bills that I've seen. I've read all these bills. I've seen the bills he has presented and passed. I give kudos to him. And I've seen some level of ability, some level of tolerance, some level of comradeship in terms of what he can do to bring the entire House of Reps together. So we're also looking beyond the party directives alone. The party has directed. But then beyond the party directive, who is the man, TJ Abbas? I think that is something for us. Why I do not rate him above others, but I do not underrate him. I also think that the others are qualified, they're eminently qualified, they have their own pedigree, they have their credits, they have things they have also done. But in my assessment, in my personal assessment, I think TJ Abbas is a man to beat.
All right. Honorable Kaleja, thank you for expatiating on the joint task. But, of course, this is politics. And again, for the first time, opposition lawmakers outnumber lawmakers from the ruling party. How worried are you that they may produce the next speaker?
I can assure you that when you force your way into leadership of the parliament and you are not in control of the executive, from those that we have met there, they have given us their experiences. They said 2-3 times they have done it and that the House will not run effectively, because there must be a synergy between the executive and the legislature. If you defy the executive and you come up with a riotous leadership, that riotous leadership will consume the entire House. One, there will be no cordiality in terms of relationship between the two arms of government. It will affect the entire nation in terms of development of the nation. It will affect individual members of the House of Reps or the entire parliament. So it's important that you do not do what you think will bring in disharmony. Why people are saying that the party cannot lord things over them. But then, who organizes our elections? If they have the ability to organize our elections and put us into power, So why do you say they don't have the ability to regulate some of our activities that will also have a ripple effect on the entire country? So it's easier to ask somebody to come and cook the food and say, oh, you cannot eat out of the food because you have cooked the food, so please go and sleep while we eat the food. No, they have joined in cooking and baking the cake. They must all be partakers. So it's not now that we can say they cannot lord it over us. Much as I agree that there must be adequate consultation, considerations, what have you. But then to say that party is not even lording it over us, that's the truth. As we speak today, none of the aspirants are sleeping. They've been calling meetings, meeting people. So it means that it's not about forcing decision of the party on us. It's about the fact that we're also doing lobbying among ourselves, consulting ourselves, meeting ourselves. Everybody is, the manifestos are there. Today, when I was in the induction, I collected the brochure of Batera, who is one of the leading aspirants. I've seen that of the deputy speaker. I've seen some of the other candidates. Gaji is there, Jaji is there. I've seen all of them. So it's not as if, okay, if we want to agree that the party has lorded it over us, then we'll go and sleep. On that day, we just go there and say yes, yes, yes. No. Come and look at the caliber of people in the 10th National Assembly. I dog my cap. I respect that what has come out of this current election is truly a reflection of the fact that people want to put in their best to come and represent that. Anybody who wants to triumph in the National Assembly like I see today must be really up and doing.
All right, so looking at it from all the angles available, especially with the way things have turned out, it seems the Senate presidency race is less problematic than that of the House of Representatives. Am I correct?
Well, I agree with you. And I think that we see some of the key players who are already, conceding to the party's decision. Let's give it to them. It's an assembly of more elderly people. The House of Reps are full of vibrant, younger, dynamic people. But in the House of Senate, they are quite much more mature than us. That is not to say that the reps are not matured. So this seems not to be resting too. It's not yet an uhuru. They have been meeting and meeting and meeting, consulting, lobbying, and I see them that, yes, it is a bit relatively stable. Then too, you also understand that the APC as a party has a majority to win that election. In the House of Reps, we do not have all the numbers that it takes to win alone. We are just short about 5-6 numbers to win. But that's 5-6 numbers might be more difficult if you don't, engage other political parties. So their zone is quite a bit lesser topsy-turvy. But then it is not to say that it is an uhuru yet. But I see more stability there. And I also assure you that in the House of Reps, you will be surprised that we might enjoy much more stability, much more rancor-free elections than even the Senate. I belong to the reps, and I see the interplay of politics that is ongoing. I'm also involved. I see that the dust will be over.
All right. Honorable College, let's quickly move on because of time. The Southeast has described the decision to exclude the zone from the calculations as unfair, especially zoning of the Senate presidency to the South-South. How will you react to that?
There are two choices open to the party. To either pick the Senate president from the Southeast or from the South-South. It's been zoned to the South. So if you give to the Southeast, the South-South will cry. If you go to the South-South, the Southeast will cry. There is no way by which you do it that there will be no complaints. But I also think that our Southeast brothers and sisters will also be happy that at least in the House of Reps, Ben Kalu has also been, microzoned as our deputy speaker. So what they lost in the Senate, they gained in the House of Reps. So no region is more important than the other region. But then we're all equal. But then in terms of consideration, the power that be feels that it should go to the South-South. And then they have compensated the Southeast from the position of a deputy speaker of the House of Reps. Don't forget, the position of a deputy speaker in the House of Reps is so powerful. In fact, the major responsibility of running the House is in the deputy speaker's position. The various committees, the various, special assignments, whatever, lies with the deputy speaker in the House of Reps is so powerful. And that position is not a main position. So I think that our Southeast brothers will come to understand. And then the Southeast must also begin, and they have begun to brace up into national politics. They've been in national politics, but then it's just that.
All right.
This time around, in the last few years, they have not been able to be in the power play of governance. But I think they are getting there.
So we've talked about how the APC leadership should handle this situation. But for you, what do you think the president-elect should do at this stage to douse the tension?
Well, the president-elect, you must understand that he's a good manager of crisis. He's a man that has shown leadership all his life. And he's a man that has been dynamic. He's a man that has been proactive. I know for sure that he's not leaving things to chances. The president-elect has been making wide consultations. He's been talking to aggrieved people, and also he's been able to also talk to other stakeholders. So you are talking about aggrieved people. It's not that. The nation is not about those individuals that are aggrieved. The nation is about all of us. So the president-elect, what I think he should do, what I also know he's doing, just for him to intensify more efforts, is to ensure that we have a rancor-free parliamentary elections. It's also ensure that every region that is aggrieved are persuaded, and they are also compensated in terms of executive positions.
Fantastic. So it's just a matter of weeks before Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's inauguration as president of Nigeria. What are your expectations, and what kind of president will he be?
Well, my expectations, like every Nigerian, is to say that it's been pretty tough for Nigerians in the last few years. The economy has not been doing well. It's been nosediving. That is what has characterized what we see as a high level of poverty. We have seen that the insecurity is getting better, so the security is improving. But my expectations from the president is first and foremost to maintain the stability of the nation, which is what the outgoing president has been able to achieve. Is to also ensure that the tripod upon which the nation rests, the Yorubas, the Igbos, the Hausas, and of course the other minority groups, are well incorporated and accommodated into the country called Nigeria. I also expect that he must do some things he has promised in the past. The nation must be restructured. The restructuring agenda must come to place. There must be devolution of powers.
Thank you.
And many more.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been speaking tonight to discuss the battle for presiding officers' jobs of the 10th National Assembly with a member-elect of the House of Representatives for Ajurami Feludu Federal Constituency of Lagos State, Honorable Paul Adeboye Kalejai. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, sir, and congratulations once again. Thank you.